And I invite Dr. Mark Stock up to the microphone to close us out. We will entertain questions, and maybe we have answers. If we don't, we will write them down, and we'll find answers. So please make your way to the front. Thank you.
Have radish.
I have been summoned.
Yes.
Okay, I was just asked to just wrap it up and basically close. So there's a couple things. We're going to start with a brief question and answer period. If there's anything at your various tables that you would like to ask a follow-up question about, I don't think it's hailing anymore, if that's your question. I'm practicing what's called latency in the instructional model. You wait so many seconds to give people time to think. Any questions from anything that's been shared? Dina, you always have a question.
I always have so many questions. So I have to say, I was frankly really shocked that out of our 48,000 students, only 8,000 of them are enrolled in foreign languages. And pardon me? In world languages, right. And I realize that there are quite a few students that have another language in their home, but if we are growing world citizens, and if we are, I think that's just an incredibly low number. And in talking a little bit about why that is, apparently we don't have enough teachers in middle school to satisfy the demand, and we don't have enough teachers in high school to satisfy the demand. So I personally would love to, I just was not aware of that. I would love to figure out a way to maybe give every student that would like to learn a world language the opportunity to do that. Right, and it right.
Yeah, did you all hear the question? It was just the lament that we only have 8,000 of our 48,000 enrolled in an actual foreign language.
World language.
Enrolled language. Is that world language?
Because
world
some
language.
people who speak Klingit
Yeah, not a foreign language, but sorry, a world language. And so therefore, is there anything we could do to encourage that? And then the conversation up here was about money and getting staff that can teach those. And believe it, the staffing thing is a real issue. We were talking at the back table about even, for example, teaching advanced mathematics, say in an elementary school, where you might not have a sixth grade teacher that can actually teach algebra in a sixth grade. Elementary teachers typically don't have that background. So there's another example of things that you have to think about when you hire. Elise?
I may be incorrect, but I think what you taught us today was things that are on the data dashboard primarily, yes? And I have a question around one piece that I haven't seen on the data dashboard that I would like to see.
Okay.
I wonder if it's possible to build in a way for us to have a better sense of how close our schools are coming to meeting the best practice model. So for example, it would be interesting to know in school X, Y, or Z, what is the average class size in that elementary school? Or so are we meeting that basic number, or what is the experience level of teachers in that school? So not just student outcome data, but also I'm asking about data around the model of what we're delivering to students in that school.
So for those who might not be familiar, the Auden-Tychus model that was submitted as a best practice model has things in it like certain class sizes, certain types of programs, certain types of tutors, certain
Professional
types.
development,
They have
coaching.
certain types of professional development. They have recommendations that they've built into a funding model that Alaska doesn't actually fund, is the point, because it can't. But
Not even close.
so the question is there anything we could put on the dashboard that would actually report to the public how close or far away we are from that? And Patrick, you look like you were trying to, you were thinking about whether you should say something or not.
Some of those pieces that you're talking about may show up in our school report card and the new accountability plan. You'll see it coming out next year. Probably not until January because peaks will be very late, so we won't get out right away, but
So they're changing what they're putting on that report card?
to some degree, yes.
So what are the
And
changes that they're
Of course, we have
making?
some power over adding things that we would like to be on there, so we can talk about those things. But one of the things that's going to be there is also around the effectiveness of teachers and some of those measurements.
Yeah.
And we do usually include demographics that we haven't tended to include class size, but we're also going to be required to report, though, on the quality and experience of teachers in the upper quartile of economic schools and the lower quartile. So some of those things are going to begin to appear next year through our school report card.
Could you explain to all of our Academy members what a report card is, besides what a student is? They don't, I'm sure many don't know.
So we're required by, and we've had these for years now, to report out on school progress. And so the state is currently drafting an accountability plan. And it will talk about what kind of things have to be in the school report card that schools have to report. So we typically always had to report the progress of students, subgroup students. The new plan is to overall academic achievement, the achievement and progress of subgroups, the progress of our English language learners, our graduation rate, and then another measurement which is more of a holistic look at school quality. It's still kind of a new term. But we also tend to include demographics in that report card, and we'll have to report on the teacher quality and effectiveness issue. So some of those will begin to appear. So the school report card is a state requirement, and there will be a state report card, a district report card, and a school report card.
So I just pulled it up there.
What's that?
Oh, I just.
Oh, Andy's just pulled it up, the school report card to the public. And that one happens to be Abbott Loop Elementary, and it shows
Yeah.
what's on there.
Yeah. So these are all available on the district website.
All available on the district website by school.
So-
Go ahead, Elise.
Sorry, so what I'm getting at is that it would be helpful, I think, for the public to understand better about, let's say, if we know the ideal model school is here, right? In our school, here's how much professional development we are able to give, an average number of hours for all of our teachers in this school. Here's how much coaching is happening in this school. Here's what the average class size is in this school. So that we all understand that you know where you need to go with this school, right? We know you're the experts and you know. And that we know then have a better real picture of what that means, so that we know that if there were more dollars put to that, it would be put toward making a higher model of education that would meet, would change the outcomes that are over here on that part of the dashboard. Does that make sense? So that's kind of what I'm getting at, that it's missing that completely. No offense, but that's what it's
What is the things
missing.
required for quality, and where are we compared to that?
Right.
In our resource allocation.
Yeah, I'm just confused on what this model school is.
So-
You can have like a lot of
Well,
different
you should look that up.
combinations.
The type
Well-
of is on the
It's
website.
past state lawsuits.
And that
So
could
that's
almost
why
be a
that
different
kind of
session.
sounds
So
like
we've got
funding,
one
you're
more.
right.
Yeah, we've got about one more minute. We'll probably have
Yeah.
to tackle that one
That's-
at another time, but, and I'm familiar with them and their model. The state I came from, the entire state is on the model and is trying to implement the model with the dollars behind it, and we could talk about that later, but. So, to bring closure to everything, just trying to tie it all together. So we've talked about curriculum, talked about assessment, didn't talk a lot about instruction, but that's the heartbeat of connecting all these pieces together, is the actual delivery of the curriculum, and then the assessment. What's new for education, in a large degree, is actually having outcome measures that are public, reportable, tracked, discussed, and trying to keep those centered around the things that are important. But we have to remember one thing. We measure not always what's most important. And it's the relationship with our children. It's connecting the human beings and getting our kids a good start. The data is a piece. And so, but we'll tie all that together. The dashboard is our attempt at accountability. So, last of all, are there any burning questions that you would like us to do if there's another leadership development seminar what are the types of things as a group that you want to know or learn more about?
I would love to talk a little bit more, this is, my topic over and over and over again. How do we get, we all want the best for our students. How do we get the entire community engaged in meaningful ways to help make that happen? Especially as our dollars shrink, how can we leverage that a little bit more?
Okay. I would say go to jamievolmer.com and buy Jamie's book called Schools Cannot Do It Alone. I have a copy upstairs if you'd like it. Jamie Volmer outlines how communities, how we take certain kinds of things out to our communities to try to get them to understand whatever your key message is. It's a very easy read. Jamie Volmer is a former businessman who was a critic of public schools, and now all he does is go around and talk about how they cannot do it by themselves. If it's not a community effort, we can't make that next huge level without more support. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Anything else? All right.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. And then we have NECAC meeting starting.
If you're interested, the Minority Education Advisory
But the
Concerns
information will be online.
letter, I missed the letter in the acronym, is meeting starting in 4 minutes.
Yes, and we will have the notes from tonight posted online tomorrow. Yes, or close to it.